Welcome back to the channel where we dive into everything buzzing in K-pop. The stories, the drama, the comebacks, and the moments that keep our fandom hearts beating. Today's topic is a serious one, but also really important to talk about. G-Dragon is officially fighting back against malicious commenters, and the progress of his lawsuit is finally out. Now, I know when we talk about G-Dragon, we're talking about a legend. The man isn't just an idol, he's a cultural icon. He helped shape modern K-pop, fashion trends, even the global image of Korean music itself. But behind all that fame and influence, he's also human. And for years, he's faced waves of hate, rumors, and false accusations online. So seeing him and his team finally take strong legal action, that's something worth discussing. According to Galaxy Corporation, which now manages G-Dragon, they've been collecting data and investigating reports from fans for months. By the end of last month, they gathered enough evidence and, on October 15th, officially filed a complaint against the people spreading malicious posts. These aren't just casual hate comments. They're targeting serious offenses like defamation and spreading false information online. You know what this shows? It shows that G-Dragon is done staying silent. And honestly, I respect that. For so long, many artists just ignored the hate, thinking it was part of the job. But we've seen what that kind of constant negativity can do. It affects mental health, creativity, and confidence. Now we're seeing more idols and companies stepping up legally, and that's such a positive shift. But let's pause for a second and think about this. How do we, as fans, or even just as part of the online K-pop community, contribute to that culture? Because here's the thing. Sometimes people forget that what they post online actually matters. Words can go viral, screenshots can circulate, and suddenly a false rumor becomes truth just because it's repeated enough. G-Dragon's case really highlights how damaging that cycle can be. The company said they're focusing especially on defamation by false information. That means not just insults, but people making up things, twisting facts, spreading fake news, and using social media as a weapon. And honestly, it's about time someone said enough. What I find interesting is that Galaxy Corporation didn't just react emotionally, they handled this systematically. They collected data, reviewed fan reports, built a case, and then filed it properly. It's not about revenge, it's about accountability. They're even working directly with the authorities to make sure people actually face punishment. And that's a strong message, not just to protect G-Dragon, but to set a precedent for the entire industry. Because, let's face it, malicious comments have been a huge problem in K-pop for years. Every few months, we see another story about an idol struggling because of hateful rumors. Some even take long breaks or leave the industry entirely because of the pressure. So seeing G-Dragon, one of the most influential figures in K-pop history, take a stand sends a powerful message. No one is untouchable, and no one deserves to be treated that way. Now, let's not forget that this isn't the first time he's been in the spotlight for controversies. From misunderstandings about his personal life to overblown rumors, he's faced constant scrutiny. But every time, he's managed to stay composed and eventually come back stronger. That resilience is what makes him who he is. And this time, instead of quietly enduring it, he's using his influence to push for change. He's showing everyone that it's okay to defend your name, your reputation, and your mental peace. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. I want to ask you guys, do you think this approach, filing lawsuits and taking things to court, is the best way to handle malicious comments in K-pop? Or do you think there are other ways the industry should tackle it? I know some people say, ignore the hate, but clearly that hasn't worked for everyone. Personally, I think this is the right move. The internet can be a great place for connection, but it can also turn toxic fast. And when that happens, it's not just about opinions anymore. It's about personal attacks, career damage, and emotional harm. So legal boundaries are necessary. What's also important here is that Galaxy Corporation mentioned they're going to keep filing additional lawsuits. This isn't a one-time thing. They're committed to working with investigative authorities and focusing on major online platforms where the hate spreads most. That means they're targeting communities, forums, and social media pages that have been consistently posting harmful content. That's a big deal, because it means they're not just protecting G-Dragon for now, they're setting up long-term protection for the future. And I think this could influence how other entertainment companies act too. Imagine if more companies followed through like this, not just making statements for PR, but actually taking cases to court, gathering evidence, and seeing it through. Maybe then people would think twice before posting baseless hate online. And honestly, I think fans play a huge role here too, because let's be real, K-pop fans are powerful. You guys can trend hashtags, crash websites, sell out tours in minutes. That same energy can also protect idols. Galaxy Corporation even mentioned that much of their data came from fan reports. So once again, it shows how fandoms can be a force for good when used responsibly. Alright, let's talk a bit about how this affects G-Dragon personally. Because while this is a professional legal move, there's an emotional side to it too. For an artist, especially someone as creative as him, negativity online doesn't just hurt, it distracts. It messes with your focus, your ability to write, perform, or even just be yourself publicly. So, when Galaxy Corporation said, "We want our artists to focus on creative activities in a healthy environment," that hit deep. Because that's what every artist deserves, peace of mind. A safe space to create without constantly looking over their shoulder, worrying about what rumor might pop up next. And honestly, I think this lawsuit isn't just about clearing his name, it's about reclaiming his peace. So, let's dig a little deeper into what this could mean for the future of G-Dragon's career and the wider K-pop world. Because make no mistake, when G-Dragon takes action, the whole industry pays attention. He's not just another celebrity filing a lawsuit. This is G-Dragon, the trendsetter, the blueprint, the artist who redefined what an idol could be. And by stepping forward like this, he's setting a new example, one that says even icons deserve protection, respect, and justice. I think that's really important because for years, there's been this toxic belief that fame comes with accepting hate. That if you're a celebrity, you should just endure it, no matter how harsh or cruel it gets. But that's just not fair. Imagine dedicating your entire life to art, music, performances, creativity, and still having to deal with people online trying to tear you down with lies. It's exhausting. So yes, I actually think this moment is bigger than just one lawsuit. It's a turning point for the culture of accountability in K-pop. Because if one of the most influential figures in the industry starts drawing a clear line, others will follow. And honestly, it's not even just about protecting idols. It's also about protecting fans, communities, and even the reputation of K-pop itself. Because when false rumors spread and people start believing them, it damages everyone involved. It creates unnecessary division, fan wars, hate comments, and online chaos. That's why I think this move is a reminder to all of us. Think before you post, fact check before you share, and remember that there are real people behind the screens. But let's also not forget that G-Dragon has been through some rough storms before. He's faced media trials, harsh criticism, and controversies that could have ended his career. And yet every single time, he's come back stronger. Not louder, not angrier, but smarter. This time, he's letting the law do the talking, not social media. That kind of maturity and restraint, that's what makes him legendary. He's teaching the industry that protecting your mental health and your peace of mind isn't a weakness, it's strength. I also want to point out something Galaxy Corporation said that really stood out to me. They emphasized that this isn't about revenge. They said they're doing this to make sure G-Dragon can focus on his creative activities in a healthy environment. That line really stuck with me. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all want as fans, right? We want our idols to be happy, healthy, and free to create the kind of music and art that made us fall in love with them in the first place. And for G-Dragon, creativity isn't just his job, it's his identity. His art has always reflected his personality, his struggles, his growth. When he's free from unnecessary negativity, we all win, because that's when he creates his best work. Now imagine this. Once this case wraps up and things settle down, what if G-Dragon channels all of that energy, the frustration, the lessons, the emotions, into new music? Can you even imagine the kind of message that Comeback would carry? Something raw, honest, powerful. It could be one of his most meaningful projects yet. I'm not gonna lie, Part of me really hopes this entire situation reignites his creative fire, because he's one of those artists who turns pain into art. And the world could definitely use more of that right now. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you believe this lawsuit will change how people behave online toward idols? Or do you think the hate culture in K-pop is too deep-rooted to ever really go away? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Be honest. Do you think more idols should follow G-Dragon's example and take stronger legal action? Or should companies focus more on prevention, like education and moderation systems on fan platforms? Personally, I think it has to be both. Legal action for accountability and education for long-term change. Because if people understand how much harm their words can cause, maybe they'll think twice before hitting post. And to all the fans out there, your role matters more than you think. Reporting malicious content, spreading verified information, and focusing on positive discussions can genuinely help shape a safer space for idols. Just look at this case. The whole thing started because fans collected reports and gave them to the company. That's proof of how strong fandoms can be when united for the right reasons. At the end of the day, G-Dragon's message here is clear. Protect your peace and don't let lies define your story. Whether you're a celebrity, a fan, or just someone living online, that's advice we can all take. And as we wait for more updates from Galaxy Corporation, I think this case will be one to watch closely. Not just for G-Dragon's sake, but for what it could mean for the future of idol protection and online accountability in K-pop. Because if this lawsuit succeeds, and I think it will, it could set a new standard for the entire entertainment industry. It could make online spaces safer, not only for G-Dragon, but for every artist who's ever been targeted unfairly. And maybe, just maybe, this will remind everyone that behind the fame, the headlines, and the spotlight, there's still a human being who deserves kindness and respect. All right, my buzzers. That's where we'll wrap it up for today. What do you think about G-Dragon's decision to take legal action against malicious commenters? Do you support it? Do you think it'll change the culture in K-pop? I want to hear your thoughts down below. Let's have a real conversation about this. And if you want to stay updated on stories like this, the ones that go beyond the surface and really explore what's happening behind the scenes in K-pop, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell. Here on AnnyeongBuzz, we don't just share the news, we talk about it, question it, and celebrate the people behind it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. AnnyeongBuzz, signing off.